Alright, so I want to make this very clear to my future wife. Wherever you are in this world, wherever you may be, I want to make it very clear that if me and my future wife are not able to recreate the dance that Mark Ruffalo and Emma Stone did in this film at our wedding, I don't want it. I do not want it at all. But on a side note, can we just acknowledge how amazing Emma Stone's filmography has been? And honestly, what I mean by that is this chick went from Superbad to Easy A to Crazy Stupid Love to The Help, which I'm not sure which one of those came out first. And then she did Amazing Spider-Man, which I'm definitely going to give her credit for because Gwen Stacy is a big reason why those movies are amazing, and Andrew Garfield, of course, too. But their chemistry is one of the biggest reasons why those movies are good. And then she did La La Land, phenomenal. Then she did Cruella, which she crushed it. She crushed Cruella. And now she's doing Poor Things. And this is by far her best performance out of that amazing filmography. But it's just like the range that this woman has, the various types of films and just emotions that this woman can capture, needs to be studied in acting classes across the globe. Has to be. I just wanted to be sure I said that. But look, this is my review of Poor Things. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, this is my review for Poor Things, starring Emma Stone, William Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo, Ramy Youssef, I believe his name is, and it was directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. Hopefully I'm saying that name correctly. And our story follows a woman who is brought back to life basically by a very wildly unimaginable process where basically she was about to give birth to a child, but the baby's brain has now been put into hers, and basically she is now a child in an adult's body, or she has the mind of a child in the body of an adult, however you want to phrase that. And basically this is just the story of her discovering herself and discovering what the world is, literally from the mind and the eyes of an adolescent child. And that's pretty much the best way I can explain this movie, because I mean there's a lot of other ways you could probably explain it too. It's a complete madness, but in the best ways possible. But look, to put this in plain terms, this was one of my most anticipated films of the year, just because I know how immensely talented Emma Stone is, and I love watching her in just about everything she does. And then William Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo, and I've never watched the television show Ramy or heard of Ramy Youssef. I mean, I've heard of Ramy Youssef because of the show Ramy, but I never watched it, and I've never seen any of his work until now, and I'm just completely amazed by that. But this film is one that, at least I believe for film fans, is like, if you're really big into cinema, if you're a cinephile, a film nerd, as I describe myself, if you are really into film, this is a movie that would absolutely just floor you from beginning to end. I believe that this is a film that is absolutely just spectacular in every essence of the word. This film was everything I wanted it to be and so much more. Starting with Emma Stone. And first of all, with Emma Stone, I believe this girl should be not only nominated for Best Actress, I think she should win. Emma Stone's performance in this film is just so amazing, and it's so creative, and it's so out of the box type thinking. You're sitting there thinking to yourself, how is this girl pulling this off? Like, everything she's doing in the film is practical. All of her movements, all of her speech impediments, all her speech as in general, that was all studied and all something that she worked on to literally give us the real feeling that we're watching an actual child in an adult's body, like the mind of a child in the adult's body. I'm just going to keep saying it like that. But just watching her performance in this film was just, it was something I've honestly never seen before. It was otherworldly. Like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. And one thing that I specifically loved about not only the performance of Emma Stone's, but the character that she played, Bella herself, was the evolution. Just watching the Bella evolve throughout the film and watch her be presented with so many different themes and values and morals that other people have, because she's literally approaching every scenario from the mind of a child. How just like how children are just so amazed at everything, how naive and insecure, I mean, well, not insecure, but how naive and just innocent they are, how like everything just is like a sense of wonderment to them. It's like we as adults have not felt that feeling in such a long time. So to watch Emma Stone in this film discover the world and discover just who she is in that sense, and like from this point of view, from her perspective, is genius. It was absolutely just genius. Like I love the direction this movie took. I love the direction it went in. Now I will say, this movie has a lot of sex, and sex is pretty hard to I'd say not attack, but it's a pretty strange topic to dive into, because I mean, some of us are just hormone monsters, and we hormone monsters, as Big Mouth would say, and we just love, sex scenes in movies, Margot Robbie in Wolf of Wall Street, yeah, that too. But I mean, so I'm not gonna sit here and say like, yeah, all the sex scenes made me hot and steamy, and I just loved everything that was going on, although there's some of that going on. But look, regardless of the fact, one thing I did love, although there is a lot of sex in the movie, the sex fits the narrative and the theme of what they're trying to tell you perfectly. It makes sense. It's like, this is a woman who was born, she was born, over again with the mind of a child, and she was basically being held in captivity and felt like she was a prisoner for a long time, and she's not able to express her self freely. She's not able to experience freedoms that other people have. She's not able to explore the world as others do. And so in her own certain ways, she's finding ways to express herself and find what is purposeful to her, and find just what actually means to her, like what the means are to make her character happy. And a lot of that comes through sexual intercourse, and it works. It's purely genius the way this story is told. Another thing that I absolutely adored was the fact how William Dafoe's character's name is Godwin, but she always directs him, she always addresses him as God, which is a parallel, of course, because he was her creator and things like that. And basically, it's like William Dafoe's character wanted her to behave one way and just be stuck in this place and not necessarily leave the boundaries of, what he's created for her. But then she is trying to tell him, like, I have to go explore. I have to see more. I have to go make the mistakes and go make a mess around the world so I can realize like who I am as a person. And it parallels so well to a lot of stuff that we experience in life. Like I loved Yorgos Lanthimos, hopefully I'm saying that name right, his direction in the film, and I just love Emma Stone's portrayal of this character so much. She was the biggest highlight of the film by far. She stole the show. It's her show basically, so I mean there's not really much to steal, but every time she's on camera, every time she's just doing something on screen, you are absolutely mesmerized by what's going on. And like I said, the evolution of her character. So even when she starts to develop her brain and starts to develop more adult vocabulary and things like that, it's even impressive where we leave off with her by the end of the film, because it's like the journey of where she was to where she is now is incredible. It's such a very humanizing type journey. It's one where, like I said, it's from a perspective that we really don't get anymore, because we have already grown up. We are adults now. We don't have that mind of a child, but a lot of us try to hold on to our inner child and things like that, but it's not the same as actually having the innocent mind of a child, and, everything affects you. It's like when Emma Stone's character has interactions with other characters, and they're asking her, why are you going through with this? Why are you doing things like this? And she's like, well, because I feel like there's no sense of danger. I feel like I just need to do it. And they're like, that makes sense, because she has the mind of a child. They know she's so much different than everybody else. And seeing somebody with that sort of innocence, seeing somebody who sees life in a whole nother light that way as an adult, or at least in the form of an adult, is insane. That was absolutely just genius to me. The entire concept of this film was so much better than the previews like made me believe it was going to be, and just the execution of everything that this film had was just way better than what I expected. I mean, I'm absolutely just completely mesmerized. I am astonished at what this movie did. And immense credit to William Dafoe as Godwin, the creator. He was William Dafoe. William Dafoe is just amazing. Like, there's really no much other way I can put it. William Dafoe is just absolutely spectacular. Mark Ruffalo's character. Although this man is supposed to be portraying a very manipulative, just nonsensical man, just a typical guy who just wants to take advantage of a woman and her naiveness, he was hilarious. I don't know if it's like an unintentional funny, but Mark Ruffalo was absolutely hilarious in this film. He is not a good guy. That is definitely very plainly known, or very plainly put in once his character is introduced. He is fully trying to take advantage of this girl, and he becomes, honestly, what he becomes in the film, which is honestly in relation to a very just big baby. It's really just amazing. Like, it's so hysterical. It's so funny to see the effect that Emma Stone has on characters like him, pointing out insecurities. She's not necessarily no, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. She's not necessarily a person who knows that you're not necessarily supposed to point out all the insecurities that men have, but she doesn't have that. She doesn't have that thought process. She just says whatever the first thing is that comes to her mind. She just, whatever she's feeling, she says. Whatever she's observing, she says. Whatever she learns from one person, she'll bring that knowledge into another conversation, and if it relates to something that the other person said, she'll say it right there and just hurt the person's feelings, which honestly makes for a lot of great content throughout the film. Also, I have to shout out once again that dance sequence between Mark Ruffalo and Emma Stone. If me and my future wife cannot recreate that scene, I don't want it. I need to reiterate that as much as possible. I don't want it, because that scene captures, honestly, it feels like it captures my weirdness as much as I love films like this and weird films in general. It just, that damn scene was perfect. I need to be able to marry someone who I can be that free around. That is the other thing about this movie. It's about not only going through a journey and discovering yourself, but finding the people who accept you as you. That was one of the stronger narratives of this film and one of the stronger themes, and it hit like a train. It hit like, I can't necessarily say it hit like Omni-Man hit that train, and more so like the train hit Omni-Man in Mark. And if you've seen Invincible, you know what I'm talking about. But it was that was such a strong, pivotal point the movie was trying to make, being accepted even after all the things you've done that you in your life regret, or you in your life feel like other people won't understand or they just don't get. That was a very beautifully well executed narrative in the film. The way that was presented to us as audience members, I thought was absolutely genius. And I thought this movie really took its time very patiently to express to you very different morals and values and themes that honestly all types of people have. Like, you're literally seeing all of the different morals and values from people who don't, or from a person who does not have a very complex mindset of their own. They're just taking everybody's words, and all of their words mean something to them because they don't necessarily know what is right and what is wrong in this world, or what is morally right and what is morally wrong. This movie was genius. Big shout out to Ramy Youssef, who played, I'm going to say, husband. I'll put husband in quotations because I mean, yeah, I'll say he played her husband, or somebody who fell in love with her. He did a fantastic job as well. I absolutely loved the directing from Yorgos Lanthimos. I loved his directing. The movie is beautiful, and I love how we go from a black and white perspective to where things are really. personally, this is what the color scheme meant to me as far as, you know, what I got from the movie. The black and white is a representation of basically what, like, is supposed to be simple, like, for her. Like, just basically when she's first born, she's literally having the mind of an infant, and she's just discovering things, and everything is so black and white, and nothing essentially, it has to be so complicated until, you know, she actually goes out into the world and discovers what is actually out there, and has what she likes to call an adventure. And that's when the world starts to get colorful and wacky and weird and all these other crazy things. And then there was a scene where she discovers about, like, poor people, and just, like, you know, the treacheries of the world, and just how mean and evil the world can be. And even then, even that scene was absolutely spectacular. The way everything is just so carefully crafted in this film to make sure that, you know, they don't ever try to lose you with what they're trying to present to you in the film. Everything is just so carefully done to where it all just comes together and just makes sense. And it's truly a beautiful tale. This is just a movie that I was very excited for this movie walking in, but, like, walking out, I was just like, that was so much better than I could have ever imagined it was going to be. It was, and I have honestly had this feeling with maybe a few films this year, but this one in particular completely took my breath away. And performances, not only the performances, but the score of the movie. I love the music in the film. It was honestly spot on. It was absolutely fantastic. I love the humor in the movie, even if it's unintentional, which I think some of it is unintentional, but it's just like what you've been through in your personal experiences, you will laugh at a lot of the stuff that happens in this film because it's just so unintentionally funny, or it's just funny to you because it's just something you've experienced in your life. And honestly, I loved how the sex was just not pointless. Like, we're not watching just pointless sex scenes. We are literally watching a woman express herself and finding the only way that she feels freedom through sexual intercourse. Like, it all had a purpose. It all had a point to make. And the movie just came together to be one of my favorite films of the year. And I will probably find myself saying that. I mean, I probably said that quite a bit I've probably said that quite a bit about a lot of films this year, but this truly is in my top 4. This is in my top 4 right now. I got Across the Spider-Verse, Talk to Me, Past Lives, and right there at number 4 is Poor Things. I am just absolutely in awe of what I saw not only Emma Stone be able to pull off, because this performance will be talked about for years and years and years to come. And if it isn't, then I don't know what anybody saw in this film, because this thing, what Emma Stone did, should be absolutely praised. And look, for all those reasons and so many more, guys, I'm going to give Poor Things a 5 out of 5 stars. All right, guys, so Poor Things, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Look, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and so much more. Look, I didn't really get to address this in the when I was doing my review itself, but I really brought up the fact that this is a movie more for film fans, because if you're like the average or the average moviegoer, I don't necessarily know if this movie would be for you, but I highly recommend that people check this out and just figure out what they get from it for themselves, because I think there's something in this movie for everybody. It's just, I'm not sure if everyone is mature enough to get past, you know, just all the sex and things like that. And, I mean, we'll see, you know, who knows. But, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff and so much more. Look, this is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.